Welcome to the audio conferencing center. Please enter a You're now joining the meeting.
Welcome to the regular meeting of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. We will be with you for quite a while today because following this meeting, we're going to have another meeting with a briefing for the next meeting of the Forsyth County Commissioners. Commissioner Fleming Elamine has tested positive for the COVID virus. Therefore, he's decided to stay at home and join the meeting via remote, which is wonderful. And we'll keep you in mind throughout the entire meeting and hope if you have any questions or anything that is needed, Commissioner Elamine, I know that you'll come right in and let us know about it. Before we begin the meeting, I'll turn the meeting over to the Vice Chairman of the Board, Don Martin, for the invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to begin our meeting today with an invocation from Pastor Nathan Parrish. He is the pastor at Peace Haven Baptist Church, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Richard Linville. Please stand if you're able.
Thank you for the opportunity today, and I invite you to join me in prayer. God of light, in whom there is no darkness or shadow of turning, we look to you with thanksgiving for the gift of this day, for the beginning of a new year, and for the gifts of life, health, and strength. We come now in prayer, seeking your wisdom and guidance for the ordering of our lives and our communities. We pray, O Lord, that you will free us from fear and suspicion, from pride and presumption. We pray, O Lord, that you will inspire us by your Spirit to meet each other with good faith and goodwill, to listen to one another, to see and treat one another as neighbors, and to work together, commissioners and residents alike, for a county and for communities that are just and equitable, kind and compassionate, good and honorable, safe and healthy, where every person may live and pursue life with dignity and decency. Into your hands, O Lord, we commit this meeting and our lives. It is in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Parrish, for being with us today. All right. Madam Clerk, since we are meeting virtually as a remote meeting, I will ask you to call the roll.
Chairman Plyler,
Present.
Vice Chairman Martin,
Here.
Commissioner Elamine,
Present.
Commissioner Kaplan, Commissioner Linville,
Here.
Commissioner McDaniel,
Present.
Commissioner Wisenhunt.
Here.
Thank you. Citizens who are wishing to participate in the public session portion of the meeting, please call 336-422-1200. You will be placed on hold until the public session begins, and I'll give you that number again, 336-422-1200. Members of the audience who are here who wish to participate in the public session portion of the meeting, please fill out a speaker card and return to the clerk at the end of the table. Now, Joshua Swift, our Public Health Director, is going to give us a COVID-19 update. And Joshua, you are on.
All right. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I appreciate this chance to give you an update. So today we reported 659 cases. We are now averaging 426 cases per day. So the caseload is staggering. We're up 379% in the last 14 days. We've also had 40 deaths since December the 7th. Our current cases is over the last 14 days, you can see is 6,688. You can see our percent positive is 25% as of the 4th. Percent of our population adults that are fully vaccinated is 70%, and 75% are partially vaccinated. Also would note that we have 54 Forsyth County residents in our Forsyth County hospitals. The next slide looks at our cases per week, and you can see where the week of the 26th, we had 3,633 cases. We're seeing that 83% of the cases are in individuals that are unvaccinated. And I would just note that this is, you can see back in August, that was our Delta surge. Previously, before this, our highest week was around 1,700 cases. That was late December 2020, early January 2021. So this is far exceeded our weekly record. Our percent positivity, you can see for the week of the 26th is now, it was at 29%. Again, exceeding our records. The worst week before this was 17%. Again, late December, early January of 2021. You look at our vaccination status, you can see the demographics by race and by age. Right now, what we're seeing is around coming through the health department, 600 people for this week are scheduled to come in. That number usually increases throughout the week, so we're seeing roughly a little more than 100 people per day coming through our clinics. We're seeing people obviously at other clinics and pharmacies throughout the community, and you can see the percentage of individuals that are at least one dose and those that are fully vaccinated. In my last two slides, going back to vaccine updates, in the news you've probably heard this week about expanding the use of a booster dose to include 12 to 15-year-olds, also allowing a third dose for certain immunocompromised children, 5 to 11. Also, booster wait times have been decreased from 6 months to 5 months. But this is, earlier in this week, there was FDA authorization, then CDC endorsement yesterday, and we're still awaiting those standing orders from the state. And my last slide is about testing. Obviously, we're seeing across the state and across the nation and in the county challenges with finding a test. Earlier this week, Governor Cooper held a press conference with Secretary Kinsley, and there's work obviously being done to make tests more available. The biggest thing is we're encouraging people, one, you don't need to go to the emergency room for a test. We're trying to encourage people to go get tested in other places, in clinics, at mass testing sites that are in the community. Also, encouraging people that they don't need a negative test to return to work. That was something early on in the pandemic that was required. That's no longer necessary. We'll have more information about this tomorrow at 10 a.m. at a joint press conference, which will include Public Health, Forsyth County Emergency Services, as well as Atrium and Novant Health. So that concludes my presentation. I know that Dr. Old is coming after me. I'd be happy to take questions now or wait till after Dr. Old.
Why don't we wait until after Dr. Old? Okay. Dr. Old, the Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center also has a COVID-19 update, and thank you for being with us. Happy New Year, and you may begin.
Thank you for the invitation. Just a quick sound check, okay? Joshua,
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. I don't have a lot to add from Joshua. The numbers are somewhat staggering, so much that it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it. But one way to look at it is probably roughly right now, 5% of Forsyth County has COVID, which is a lot of people. The severity of the infection does seem to be a bit less. I don't think that we should be complacent about it, but the numbers of people we have in
We've lost your audio, Dr. Old. We've lost your audio. Dr. Old, we've lost your audio.
Vice Chairman Martin, it's on our end. We have staff working on that.
Oh, okay.
that's the group that really is getting hit with this right now. For vaccinated people, the infections that are occurring are relatively mild, particularly if you've been boosted. And what I mean mild is 2 to 3 days of cold-like symptoms if you've been boosted, maybe a few more days if you haven't been boosted. But it's a lot less of a severe illness than earlier on in the pandemic. So when you think about 5% of Forsyth County having COVID right now, there's a lot of people having colds, basically, and a smaller number that have severe infection. So that's a little bit of the rosy side. A little bit of the not so rosy side for us in our hospitals right now is that we're getting impacted with a lot of people with COVID colds also. Obviously, our hospitals are highly vaccinated because of vaccine mandate. But when they get their breakthrough infections, we can't bring them back to work for at least 5 days, sometimes a little bit longer. So right now, for instance, in our entire health system, including Guilford County and Davidson and Wilkes, we have about 250 people out with COVID, which means there aren't as many people to take care of people. So with 170 some people in our health system who are hospitalized right now with COVID, that puts a big burden on our hospitals. I don't think you have to worry about, not having your heart attack treated or not getting the care that you need when you need it. But for non-urgent care, it means you're going to have to wait. It means that your elective surgery, depending on which hospital and when and where, could be delayed. And so it's impacting on our ability to care for people. Again, I want to reiterate, if you have a serious infection or emergency or you have a serious medical problem, you'll get the care you need. I'm not worried about that at all. But it's for the less urgent stuff that we may need to have people put off for a while. As pointed out earlier by Joshua, our emergency departments are really busy, and this is not the place to get a COVID test. We've had a lot of people coming with their COVID colds wanting a COVID test to see what they have. The emergency department's not the place. And we'll be talking about it at our press conference tomorrow morning, what some of the other avenues are to get tested if you need them. And I might add that maybe not everyone needs a COVID test. If you have cold or flu-like symptoms,
So what?
We might need to increase our broadband.
Dr. Roll, can you hear us?
Welcome to the audio conferencing center. Please enter a conference ID followed by pound. You're now joining the meeting.
Can you hear us, Dr. Roll?
Why don't we take about a 5-minute recess?
I can. Can you hear me?
We just heard you. Can you hear me now?
I can't.
Okay, if we can continue, but if it starts malfunctioning, let's take a 5-minute
Okay.
recess.
Dr. Roll? Can you hear me, Dr. Roll? No.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, you can hear me.
I can, yeah.
Okay, we
So I was going to say, if anyone has questions, we can take them now.
yeah, we're experiencing audio difficulties on our end. So I can tell you when we lost you. You had just said, well, maybe not everyone needs a COVID test if you have the sniffles and the flu. That was just a few paragraphs before where you are now. Maybe you could condense a little bit of what you concluded with starting with that.
Yeah, not everyone probably does need a COVID test. So if you don't have any vulnerable hosts at home, and
Oh.
Get it. Get it.
Well, here for the meeting, we're going to take a 5-minute recess while we work on our audio difficulties. So we'll start our recess now.
You did that very well.
We're good? We'll give it a shot.
You can start if you want to.
No, I think we're gonna.
Our computer's actually off.
Oh, my.
Vice Chairman Martin, I believe we're ready.
Are we returning to Dr. Roll? Or just continuing?
Vice Chairman, Dr. O had to leave for a 2:30.
Okay, very good. We're back in session. Would anyone like to ask Joshua any questions? Well, hearing none, we will continue. Thank you for the update, and we'll look forward to. I don't know if we'll look forward to it for next week because the numbers are up there, but certainly appreciate always the work that you guys are doing, and particularly now that I assume, how's your staff doing, Joshua?
Well, I think we're in the same boat as, hospitals, emergency services, just, we have high vacancy rates and just, tired, staff are tired. So this is, we thought Delta was sort of that final wave. We're coming up on 2 years in March. So, staff are tired, but thank you for asking.
Yeah, well, yeah, please, I think I can speak for everyone in this case. Please share our support and appreciation to your staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Before we begin the business section of the meeting, I want to remind all of you that our votes will be done remotely by roll call. And if you want to make a motion or a second, please state your name. The first item on the agenda is a resolution adopting and establishing rules of procedure for Forsyth County Board of Commissioners meetings. We've discussed this a couple of times. Is there additional discussion, or are we ready for a motion?
Dave Plyler, I move we accept that.
A motion made by Commissioner Plyler. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner McDaniel. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Chairman Plyler,
I'm in favor.
Vice Chairman Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine,
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan, Commissioner Linville, Commissioner McDaniel, Commissioner Wisenhunt.
Aye.
Thank you. The second item on the agenda is a resolution revising erosion control fees subsequent to the adoption of House Bill 489. Do we have any presentation or discussion on this matter? If not, is there a motion?
Dave Plyler, I propose we accept the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Plyler,
Second.
second by Commissioner McDaniel. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman Plyler,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine,
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan, Commissioner Linville, Commissioner McDaniel, Commissioner Wisenhunt.
Aye.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes for the meeting of December 16th, 2021. Is there a motion?
Dave Platter, we propose we accept the motion.
Moved by Commissioner Plyler,
Second.
second by Commissioner Wizenhunt. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman Plyler?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan? Commissioner Linville? Commissioner McDaniel?
Aye.
Commissioner Wizenhunt?
Aye.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any calls or cards for the public session?
Vice Chairman Martin, we have 4 speaker cards for in-person comments, and we have 5 calls.
All right, why don't we do the calls first?
Sure.
You are now available. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners public session. This session is for comments only, and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record.
Asia Pepper, 4042 Shallow Creek Court, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27127.
Thank you. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each, and a 30-second warning will be given. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Asia Pepper, and I live in Winston-Salem. I want to tell you about Crosby Scholars and why this is such an important program. I was a Crosby Scholar in high school. I went to Parkland, and I honestly don't know if I would have gone to college without the assistance and encouragement from Crosby Scholars. I was a first-generation college student, and my parents saw the importance of my sister and I being in the program. Crosby Scholars gave me priceless and essential tools that I otherwise would not have had. It gave me a roadmap to getting into college. From the learning academies to meeting with my senior advisor, I felt like I got a premium experience, and it was all for free. I learned the importance of giving back through community service. It set me up for life. From getting into UNC Asheville in my undergrad and now pursuing my master's in counseling at Wake Forest, I feel like I couldn't have gotten here without Crosby Scholars. It deeply influenced my professional life. I have only worked for education nonprofits, passing on the tools that Crosby Scholars gave me. I now work for Crosby Scholars as a college and career advisor, where I'm able to pay it forward to a program I deeply believe in. Everyone who works or volunteers for Crosby Scholars truly believes in helping students succeed. It is a program that changed my life, continues to change other students' lives, and can help so many more. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are now available. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners public session line. This session is for comments only, and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record.
Carrie Sigler, 301 North Main Street, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27101.
Thank you. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each, and a 30-second warning will be given. You may begin.
Hi, thank you for having public comments on this. My name is Carrie Sigler. I am a local attorney. I'm calling on behalf of the request by Imprint Cares, I think for money for a new facility for their special needs kids. One of their special needs kids is my son, Jonas. He was adopted from Surrey County in 2014 out of foster care. Jonas is developmentally delayed, so he's biologically 10 years old, but he's developmentally only about 2. He is nonverbal, so he can't talk. He uses an iPad to communicate, and he is autistic. During the day, he attends ABC of NC, which is a special needs school for autistic kids, and that lets out at 2:30. So from 2:30 until about 5:30, he attends Imprint Cares, and he has since the day I've gotten him. There is really no other daycare that I know of in Forsyth County that is equipped to care for special needs kids. There's certainly none in this area that is equipped to provide the kind of care that Jonas and his peers need. I was told from the beginning that I could not put him in a regular daycare because they're just not equipped to keep an eye on him the way that he needs to be kept an eye on and to provide for his needs. But thank God Imprints is here, because without them, I'm not overstating this, I could not run my law practice. I could not run the nonprofit that I run. I could not have any sort of meaningful employment without a place to send Jonas at the end of the school day. And aside from that, Imprints goes above and beyond in every way. If he needs to be picked up from his school, they pick him up. If he needs to stay a little bit later, he stays a little bit later. If he needs to come a little bit early, they make accommodations and he comes a little bit early. They are absolutely phenomenal in every way. I have direct access to the director, Betty West, who is also phenomenal. I can't recommend them highly enough or stress enough that I could not functionally manage to be Jonas's mom without Imprints in our lives. I understand that they're losing their space at Augsburg Community Center after 50-something years and are looking for a new space. I would beg you to help them to find this new space and to provide funding for it. I know for us and for the other families there, the care that Imprints provides is vital. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I am around if anyone has questions.
Thank you.
You are now available. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners Public Session Line. This session is for comments only and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record.
Claudia Barrett, 502 North Broad Street, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27101.
Thank you. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each, and a 30-second warning will be given. You may begin.
Good afternoon, Chairman Plyler and Board of Commissioners. Thank you for the privilege of your time. I'm Claudia Barrett, Executive Director of Imprints Cares, an education nonprofit serving children and families here in Forsyth County for the last 52 years. I come before you today to ask that you approve our request for Arpa Fund, which will be used to alleviate learning loss exacerbated by the COVID-19 health crisis. Every child is born with tremendous potential, but what happens in his or her early environment plays a pivotal role in long-term development. Imprints Cares works to equip parents with the tools that they need to be their child's first best teacher by raising children who are socially, emotionally, and developmentally prepared for school success. Our ARPA application requests funds to mitigate health and educational disparities and learning loss experienced by the most vulnerable children in Forsyth County. With decades-long experience serving vulnerable children and families, ARPA funding will expand the presence of bilingual family engagement specialists in the Title I schools we serve. Family and community engagement are powerful tools for making schools more equitable, culturally responsive, and collaborative. Allow us to continue to provide the only before and after school and full day summer enrichment camp for children with special needs like our little Jonas, and thanks to Carrie for calling in. Alleviate our waiting list of over 100 families who want to be a part of our Parents as Teachers program. Imprints Cares is the only provider of Parents as Teachers, an international, evidence-based intensive home visitation program. Allow us to move forward with a partnership with the Department of Social Services to create a robust referral pipeline to mitigate child abuse and neglect through evidence-based positive parenting, and expand our presence in pediatric sites where our highly educated staff serve as part of the family-centered care healthcare team. We have created a comprehensive framework of services aimed at addressing poverty through a multi-generational model grounded in research and evidence-based practices that breaks the cycle of poverty through positive parenting, addressing the social drivers of health, and enhancing opportunities for children and their families. Your investment in early learning and high-quality before and after-school programming will have lasting impact well beyond childhood and are critical to improving third-grade reading proficiency, reducing chronic absenteeism, and helping children develop critical social and emotional skills. Thank you so much.
You are now available. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners public session line. This session is for comments only, and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sean Maroney, 414 Fayetteville Street, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Thank you. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each, and a 30-second warning will be given. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Sean Maroney. Thank you for the opportunity. We are from Beta Box Learning, and I just want to tell you a story about learning loss and how hands-on learning, which we've included in our Arpa application to the board for consideration today, can help students in Forsyth County. I was really that student that didn't have necessarily a direction to go in life, and one day at my school I got a model rocket experience, and that was the moment for me. From this single moment, I went to NASA camp in high school, then studied mechanical engineering here in North Carolina, and that's what our company does for tens of thousands of students, and we want to bring that to Forsyth County, which is the home of our manufacturing location. We build mobile units, and we create manufacturing jobs as a result of that, and those mobile units go to public K-12 schools throughout the Southeast, and we thank you for the opportunity to review our proposal and our presentation, and we're available with any questions. Thank you.
You are now available. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners public session line. This session is for comments only, and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record.
Mona Lovett, 5100 Spiralwood Drive, Clemens, North Carolina, 27012.
Thank you. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each, and a 30-second warning will be given. You may begin.
Good afternoon. I am very pleased to address you this afternoon, Commissioners, and want to thank you for your past support. I'm Mona Lovett, President and CEO of the Crosby Scholars Community Partnership, and I'm here just to offer a few words on behalf of our proposal for Arpa Funds. I'm just very pleased and delighted that you got to hear from our Crosby alum, Asia Peppers, first thing in the meeting, and there are no words that I can say that can surpass what she said, as she is a direct product of the program. As you've heard throughout the last couple of years how challenging this pandemic has been, I'm very proud to say that Crosby Scholars has been able to continue to serve our students and our parents and help them during this very challenging and difficult journey. Crosby Scholars is a free college access program open to all students in public school in Forsyth County in grades 6 through 12. We never turn a student away. We believe that every student who has an interest in going to college will have the opportunity to do so. And while those students are engaged, if they choose not to go to college, we can support them in their college and career and possibly military path. All of our Crosby Scholars sign a partnership agreement saying that they're going to come to Crosby Academy, they're going to do community service, they're going to make education a priority, try not to be placed on out-of-school suspension, and we work with parents throughout every step of the college of college admissions, financial aid through grades 6 to 12. We work with our middle school students in helping them with goal-setting skills, preparing to build their self-esteem, study skills, preparing for high school with our transition program. Our 9th and 10th graders take classes on time management and stress management and right decisions. We help them with conflict resolution, financial literacy, and career exploration. We take our students on college visits and career visits. Our juniors and seniors participate in a host of workshops. We work with their parents on college and career planning as well as the students. We help students prepare for the ACT, and we also provide one-on-one advisors for all of our seniors, and we're hoping to expand that to our junior students as well as our 9th and 10th graders who are at our high-need schools. All of our students as seniors have a one-on-one advisor who helps them navigate every step of the college admissions and financial aid process. Many of these are retired school counselors or recent college graduates who help connect with students and their parents. And we offer over 18 different workshops to assist them. And we offer free essay reading, mock interviews, and we have a financial aid counselor to help them complete the FAFSA, because we know if the students who have high need do not complete the financial aid form, then they are pretty much putting the brakes on any college plans.
You have
We
30
also
seconds.
have outreach programs for our African American males, our Hispanic males, our Hispanic females, and our Hispanic and African American women in the field of STEM. So we thank you for your support. We are proud to serve this community. Graduated 1,083 seniors last year who went to 125 different colleges and awarded just under $1 million in last dollar grants and scholarships. Thank you so much for your support.
Vice Chairman Martin will move to the speaker cards.
Okay.
Stephen Jumper, please come forward and state your address for the record.
I'm Stephen Jumper. I live at 4031 Camp Betty Hastings Road in Walkertown, North Carolina, 27051. I'm here today representing the Twin City Kiwanis Club. I'm the past president of the club. We are a 65-year-old organization in town, and we have applied for ARPA funds. Just a quick word about that application today, and I'm here to advocate for your approval of our application for $40,000. If you're familiar with our club, you're familiar with Pancake Day. And for 60 some odd years, we have had Pancake Day down at the convention center here in Winston-Salem, and it's become a Winston-Salem tradition. We were unable to have that event in February of 2021 because of COVID. So our application is pretty simple. It has a direct cause and effect from the standpoint of COVID preventing us from raising what would have been $40,000 to simply give away to nonprofits. And I'm delighted to hear the 5 speakers over the phone. If you caught the theme, it's all about children, and Kiwanis is all about children, benefiting children. And so when we raise those funds, nonprofits like Crosby Scholars come to us, the Food Bank, Salvation Army, ABC of North Carolina, all those organizations that support children apply for the grant money from us, and then we in turn give that to them for a specific project about children. Not to necessarily go into their budget, it's about children and supporting children. So I just wanted to give a word about that today. And on a second note that's not related to the application from Twin City Kiwanis Club, I said I lived in Walkertown, and I lived in Clemens for 17 years. I moved to Walkertown 7 years ago. I remarried and moved out to Walkertown. And if you remember what was going on 7 years ago, there was no northern loop going around Winston-Salem. And I have had the joy of watching that thing be built. And I wanted to give you some extreme positive feedback about how they are building that road. And I've seen every bridge go up. I've seen every tree come down almost, because I go all different directions and on all those roads, and they are doing a marvelous job. So I wanted you guys to hear that feedback. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Alan Shelton, please come forward and state your address for the record.
So I'm Alan Shelton. I live at 2914 Old Salisbury Road in Winston-Salem.
And I'm Donald Sweeper. I live at 1937 Light Street in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
So I want to thank you for the opportunity for us to speak here today. We have an ARPA grant proposal before you. I am the founder and the executive director of Mixer Community Makerspace, and we opened in January of 2018 and formed a community of people around a shared need for access to technology and tools. That community has grown and evolved in the time since. And in 2019, we started a STEAM education program to make our makerspace more accessible to students in grades 6 through 12. And those programs are often the first step for some students to figuring out their career path when they grow up. Our current program does not have the capacity to meet all of the needs that have been expressed by our community. And in response to this, one of the people that showed up with an idea was Donald Sweeper, and he has been instrumental in us developing our Connection Point to Career Pathways program. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'm Donald Sweeper. I'm an engineer for 21 years. I've been an engineer and aviation teacher for 12. I currently teach at Quality Education Academy as an aviation teacher. And it brings me joy to even move here in Winston-Salem. I'm excited about the aviation that's growing in our area, and also with the help of the mixer, bringing STEM into our community. I see an opportunity with our technology that leads our students to these interesting and this new career path, and it's drones. I've had several camps with drones from Duke University for several years to working with WSSU last summer, even through virtual, and this is the hook. And this is the place where everyone has chosen us to be chosen just to be able to connect with drones. We have, it's just bring me joy to just look and see how our area has been chosen just for the UAS infrastructure right there at Reynolds Airport. And it's also encouraging to see a company just like AeroX be chosen for $5 million to build the infrastructure right here in our city that will help other drone companies utilize the airspace within the country. This Connection Point program that Alton's talking about is going to help prepare our community for next generation aviation, advanced manufacturing, and digital manufacturing careers. These skills are also transferable, not just to aviation, but outside of that as well.
You have 30 seconds.
Yeah. Our Connection Point program will serve students in grades 6 through 12, many of whom live with economic challenges. Mixer is located in a qualified census tract, and majority of our students enrolled in our program will be also. The long-term stability of the program will come from support of local stakeholders that include industry partners, corporate sponsorships, foundations, and individual donors. And this program will also generate revenue through tuition to some of the students and project-based learning of the program. We are currently working with the PTRC on their Build Back Better grant, and Mixer will be involved as one of the entry points for students that will be traveling into those careers. And at Mixer, students will be immersed in a community of people that not only understand technology, but they create it, they understand it. And we really appreciate if you would support our grant proposal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Vice Chairman Martin, our last speaker is Donald Stewart. Please come forward and state your address for the record.
Hello, guys. It's been a couple of years since I've seen you, and I'm very thankful of being here today. And I feel like on a very positive note, Kyle's been keeping me up to date with what's going on with y'all's conversations about our Highway 65 project. I'm at 1160 Royal Hall, Germantown Road. And I'm very, very thankful to being here because it's been a 20-plus year journey for me. Over the 20 years, I've watched our federal government take care of other countries with billions of dollars. I've watched Winston-Salem grow and flourish, Salem Parkway. And out on 65, we've been sitting there needing water. We don't have quality water as well as quantity. A lot of people have shallow wells and rocky areas, and they can't really get water, even if they drill a well. I know some people's gone 700 to 900 feet to get a well. But I know you guys have really been working on it because Kyle has kept me informed, and I really appreciate getting to where we are today. And I've talked to, through the course of 20 years, I've talked to my federal representatives, state and Congress. I've talked to my state representatives, Senate and Congress, and everybody points back to, well, Forsyth County is a good, stable county. They have resources and they're able to do. So, grant money is not it's given more to the counties that don't have the resources that you have in Forsyth County. So we've kind of been overlooked. We're in a rural section. We're not in Clemens, we're not in Louisville, we're not in Winston-Salem or Kernersville. We're just a small section out here in a rural area, kind of trapped between Rural Hall and Stokes County. And so we've been fighting for 20 plus years now. I was thinking this morning, it's almost been like raising a child and getting them to college. And I feel like that's where we're at today. We're at a graduation point. There's been a lot of frustrations through my journey. And like I said, the bottom line comes to, I have found you are our representatives for our section. Everybody comes back down to you guys. And I feel like you guys have been really doing a great job. From what Kyle's been telling me, to get our water project approved. I've watched, like I said, billions of dollars. Finally, the federal government has given some millions of dollars to earmark for water projects like this for the county. So I'm very thankful that they finally, recognize us.
Mr. Stewart, we're 30 seconds.
Huh?
30 seconds, please.
Okay, I got 30 seconds. But I do want to thank each one of you personally, and I want to come here and say that today. And this process has been very humbling to me. It's been taught me patience, but it's also taught me if you believe in something, stick with it. And this project is really needed. Power went out the other day. My mother, 91 years old, with no water because no power to run the pump. Neighbors down the street having shower wells. I mean, this project is really needed, and I do appreciate you guys working so hard. Kyle's kept me updated, and he's doing a great job. And I want to thank you again, each one of you.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. All righty, thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Mr. Manager, please continue with the remainder of the agenda.
All right. Thank you, Vice Chairman Martin, and good afternoon. We have had a couple of briefings. We have some business items for consideration this afternoon. We reviewed these, and hopefully we've answered all the questions. So I'll go ahead and dive into the agenda. Item 5 is an amendment to the FY 2021-2022 budget ordinance. It appropriates additional low-income energy assistance program, or LIEAP, one-time supplemental funding. This will provide, the funds provided were $360,509.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner McDaniel.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Plyler. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman Plyler?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine? We'll come back to Commissioner Elamine. Commissioner Kaplan? Aye. Commissioner Linville?
Aye.
Commissioner McDaniel?
Aye.
Commissioner Wisenhunt?
Aye.
And Commissioner Elamine. Commissioner Elamine, you're on mute. Vice Chairman Martin, I do not believe he can hear our audio on this meeting.
So he can't nod his head either, can't do anything. All right.
No.
Well, we'll go on to the next item, and if we can return, we'll do that quickly in 5. Item 6,
Okay, very
Mr.
good.
Manager.
Yep. Item 6 is an amendment to the Pandemic Response Special Revenue Fund. It appropriates grant funds from the U.S. Department of Treasury for the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. This will provide additional funding of $1,923,779.76.
Commissioner Plyler, move approval.
Motion by Commissioner Plyler.
Commissioner Tony McDaniel, second.
Second by Commissioner McDaniel.
Chairman Plyler,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine.
Aye.
Here we go. Commissioner Kaplan. Commissioner Linville. Commissioner McDaniel. Commissioner Wizenhunt.
Aye.
Commissioner Elamine, would you like to go back to item 5 and cast your vote if you would? Which is, this is about our budget ordinance for additional low-income energy assistance program one-time supplemental funding.
Okay. My vote is aye.
We hear you. Are you voting for item 5?
Okay. Aye for item 5.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Agenda item 7 is an amendment to the 2016 Schools Capital Project Ordinance that approves additional funding for the John F. Kennedy High School renovation project. That funding is approved from that inflation reserve that was part of their budget, and it would provide $2,269,002.
Commissioner Plyler, move approval.
Motion by Commissioner Plyler.
Second. Commissioner McDaniel.
Second by Commissioner McDaniel. Madam Clerk, any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Excuse me.
Chairman Plyler,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine,
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan, Commissioner Linville, Commissioner McDaniel, Commissioner Wizenhunt.
Aye.
Very good. Agenda item 8 is an amendment to the 2018 Smith Reynolds Airport Capital Projects Ordinance. It transfers funds from Taxiway Quebec to Taxiway Alpha. The net impact of the funds that would be transferred are $11,729,000.
Commissioner Plyler, move approval.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Plyler. Second by Commissioner Kaplan. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Aye.
Chairman Plyler,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine,
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan, Commissioner Linville, Commissioner McDaniel, Commissioner Wizenhunt.
Aye.
Agenda item 9 is an amendment to the FY 2021-2022 budget ordinance that appropriates assigned general fund balance to the Community and Economic Development Department for prior year incentive payments. This would make available for those payments $2,423,771.13, and essentially recognizes that funds are not always paid in the fiscal year where they're sort of.
Commissioner Plyler, move approval.
Motion approved by Commissioner Plyler.
Commissioner McDaniel, second.
Mr. McDaniel, second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman Plyler,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine,
Aye.
Commissioner Kaplan, Commissioner Linville, Commissioner McDaniel, Commissioner Wizenhunt.
Aye.
All right, agenda item 10 has 4 parts. They were recommended and presented to you really in response to the labor shortage and just the dynamics of the vacancy rate that we have and just the challenges that are in front of them. And there are 4 parts. Item A, the first part is a resolution approving night shift differential pay to permanently assigned night shift detention staff, EMTs and paramedics and telecommunicators. Essentially will be a $2 per hour kind of base rate incentive or differential that would be paid to people who are in those classifications and work in those shifts, really in recognition of the unattractiveness of night shift work.
Commissioner Plyler, move approval.
Got item B, which is another part of that. It's a resolution approving a modification to the county's pay grades to increase the minimum hiring salary to $10.87. It would also increase all pay ranges by that 5% and increase the salaries of all active employees by 5%, essentially moving people to the same relative position in those new pay grades. We believe that will be a real benefit in terms of recruitment and retention.
Move approval of B.
Item C, got one more, a couple more here. I got a resolution approving the bid process selection and execution of a contract with a third-party vendor to conduct a thorough job market analysis and provide clarification and compensation recommendations commensurate with the market. That part of this recommendation is going to basically let us hire some expertise, bring some recommendations back to you, and as we enter the budget session that comes up for FY23 budget. And then the final item, item D, is basically the funding for all that. It's an amendment to the FY21-22 budget ordinance to appropriate additional funds for the night shift differential pay grade increases and the comp and class
Move
contract.
approval to C and D.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Platter, second by Commissioner Wizenhunt. Any discussion? And I'd just like to say one thing. Thank you very much to the staff for, I think this was with a crisis that we're facing, I think this is a very conservative plan to move forward and certainly hopefully make a difference in terms of retaining and attracting employees to fill our vacancies and retaining those that are here. So, any other discussion?
Yes, I would agree with you, Vice Chairman Martin. However, what I would like to see is a report quarterly to see how this is transgressing over the next couple of months. So thank you.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman Plyler?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine?
Aye.
Commissioner Kaplan? Aye. Commissioner Linville?
Aye.
Commissioner McDaniel?
Aye.
Commissioner Wizenhunt?
Aye.
Very good. Agenda item 11, thank you, commissioners, and I do believe that, I appreciate the forethought, and I know the employees do. Agenda item 11 has 5 parts. It is an amendment to the fiscal year 2021 budget ordinance to appropriate unreserved fund balance to establish the 2021 PAYGO capital projects ordinance. Item B is an amendment to the 2016 Callidium capital projects ordinance to accept a transfer that's part of that. Item C is an amendment to the 2018 First and Chestnut Parking Capital Projects Ordinance to transfer savings to additional projects. Then you got the 2020 PAYGO Capital Projects Ordinance to accept a transfer from the general fund and transfer funds to the essentially consolidating that, and then adoption of the 2021 PAYGO Ordinance. Basically, at the year end, there were $14,876,585 kind of available for that. Of that, you remember, $11,800,000. Last year, when we had the budget discussion, we made a decision not to issue debt because we knew that there was going to be some excess revenue there. And so we did not issue the debt, and then you establish the tax rate kind of consistent with all of those moving parts in the financial part of that budget. The other parts of that, essentially the projects that were recommended funding through that beyond Callidium we have the whole issue of the co-location and the new location of the school maintenance facility that came up out of the Lansing Road property. That's $1,619,000. Cooperative extension move, recognizing that we've got lots of dollars there at the airport that are coming from the state, and this is going to give us an opportunity to maximize some of that real estate. So there's $2.4 million in that. Last year's budget discussion was consumed by pickleball. We heard that, and so at our park system, we've got $200,000 identified for some new facilities for that sport as it kind of emerges. And then you've got the master address repository project, which is really a technology project that's going to save money and have better data kind of throughout our systems for $250,000. And then the dollars that were remaining after all that dust settled, we recognize we're in a highly inflationary period, and so we're recommending taking the balance of that and putting it in an inflation reserve.
Commissioner Plyler, approve A, B, C, D, and E.
Could I ask a question?
Elamine, second. A, B, C, D, and E.
We have a motion and a second, and we're ready for discussion from Commissioner Platter and Commissioner Elamine. Ms. Wizenhunt.
On the Callidium project, did we transfer the $750,000 from the library sale?
Yes, that's where that's exactly where that revenue would go. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Chairman Plyler?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine?
Aye.
Commissioner Kaplan? Aye. Commissioner Linville?
Aye.
Commissioner McDaniel? Aye. Commissioner Wizenhunt?
Aye.
We have a number of grant matters. Item 12, you've got a resolution authorizing execution of 2 grant agreements between Forsyth County and the North Carolina Department of Transportation to fund airport planning at Smith Reynolds Airport. Fairly small amount. One of them was $16,663. The other was $10,000. $864 in the grand scheme of things.
Commissioner Platter, move approval.
Motion by Commissioner Platter, second by Commissioner Kaplan. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call a roll.
Chairman Plyler?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine?
Aye.
Commissioner Kaplan? Commissioner Linville?
Aye.
Commissioner Wizenhunt?
Aye.
Commissioner McDaniel?
All right. Agenda item 13 is a resolution authorizing submission of an application to North Carolina Housing Finance Agency to apply for and accept if awarded the 2022 Essential Single-Family Rehabilitation Loan Pool Program funding. That's in the amount of $162,000.
Commissioner Platter, move approval.
Motion by Commissioner Platter,
Elamine, second.
second by Commissioners Elamine and Commissioner McDaniel. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call a roll.
Chairman Plyler?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine?
Aye.
Commissioner Kaplan? Commissioner Linville? Commissioner McDaniel? Commissioner Wizenhunt?
Aye.
Agenda item 14 has 4 parts, and they all are all related to the recommendations related to the ARPA funding, and we know there's a lot of interest in that in this room. I hate to delay this any further, but our recommendation at this point really is to table this matter at least through the next cycle into the next cycle. And the thoughts here is before we make these recommendations, I think we received the final guidance like today. And so we have just received that final guidance. We know we need to get our policies and procedures in place. And while I hate to delay that any further, that will also let us take some of those recommendations where we had continued to evaluate. We are in the process of doing that, and so we'll be able to bring back more complete recommendations when we do that. If I could get Lee Plunkett to come up, talk just a little bit about sort of where we are with policies and procedures, and then I know the other thing that the board has expressed interest in is really some type of dashboard about the progress toward the goal of the 80%. And so I'll get Kyle Haney to come up and talk about that after Lee's done. So.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Yeah, I just want to provide a really brief update on the policy package that we have been talking about for the last few weeks. So as you know, we needed these policies and procedures adopted by you, the board, to create a compliance environment to mitigate risk and mainly to avoid recoupment of funds going forward. And so many of these policies, particularly the subaward policies, so when we give the money to other agencies and other outside entities, are required by the U.S. Treasury Department. And so, dealing with this magnitude of federal funding, with this broad of possible uses, it's just been new for the county, and frankly, we didn't have the expertise on staff. And so we have spent a lot of time looking into this. The scope is large, it's complicated, particularly when we incorporate all the federal uniform guidance. So we've relied heavily on the School of Government, as we've talked about, and they've provided some good framework for what policies and procedures we need based off what's been published so far. And the School of Government attorneys and staff, they've been focused on this since the fall, and luckily they just put out their first policy draft on 2 days before Christmas. So we've been able to utilize at least one policy so far, which has been helpful. So for us, this policy project crosses many functional areas within the county. So we've had employees from different departments. So from budget and finance, human resources, the attorney's office, and the community and economic development office have all done great work bringing these policies together. Kimberly Bussey from the budget office has spearheaded this project for us and kept us moving forward. So she has done some tremendous work to get us to where we are. So we are close. There's about 8 to 10 policies that we're going to bring forward to you all. 6 of them had to be created from scratch. And so I think we're in a good spot. I think we're close. As Dudley had mentioned, the final rule was published about an hour before the meeting started today. And so the actual final rule is almost 500 pages. Luckily, they also published a helpful guide that's 44 pages or something like that. So we're going to dive into that, see if there's any changes in the final rule that need to be made in the policies that we've crafted so far. But it's been a good team effort, and I think we will be ready shortly. Happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I move we table the event to a later date.
Let me, if I'm,
Well, let's hear
Let me ask a
let's hear
question.
Kyle Haney's report before we do anything.
are you suggesting that you can go through this in 2 weeks?
Based off the guidance that I was reading earlier, I don't know that there's going to be a ton of changes based off the policies that we've crafted. I think a lot of the changes, based off what I could see, just scanning through it, is some eligible uses. They just defined them a little bit more. So I think it's going to be more helpful for us.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I've had a chance to very quickly go through the 44-page summary. There's more flexibility allowed for the county to spend the ARPA money. Instead of referring to QCTs, there are now two different categories: impacted households and disproportionately impacted households. And the impacted households goes up to 300% of the federal poverty guidelines, which would be $65,880 for a family of three. That covers most of the projects we're looking at. So that's much, much broader than just the QCT definition. The other disproportionately impacted is 185% of the federal poverty guidelines. There's some other flexibility in there involving record keeping. And then there's a provision that may allow us to count some of the county's employee costs against ARPA, some additional ones that we haven't to this date. So as of right now, we can follow either the interim rule or the final rule until April 1st. And on April 1st, the final rule becomes fully effective. But Lee's right, we'll need to go through this in a little more detail.
I'm trying to figure out what would be an appropriate motion.
What Dudley suggested.
Yeah, I think we table it but we'll leave it at a time. Our hopes are we could brief this, I think the January, it'd probably first part of February. So that would be our hopes.
And I think just to add to your question, the policy and procedure piece is fairly high level that I don't think is going to be impacted severely based off the final rule. I think it's more, as Gordon was saying, the eligibility, what is eligible, what is not, how things are defined is a bigger change than actual policies and procedures that we need to go forward.
February 10th or February?
Well, if the motion would be to table it, and then we'll get it back to you as soon as we can.
Well,
Table it, it's gone.
A motion to reschedule to a different date.
My suggestion was to table it to a later date, which gives you flexibility at any date.
That'd be great.
Well, I'd just like to say that's fine, but I know without a doubt in my mind that tonight that Don Stewart's going to call me. And I want to say to him now, I hope this delay will not be long. Because, as Don said, they have been waiting for this project a long, long time and have been delayed or denied several times. So those folks have gotten their hopes up so many times that here we are again delaying. But Don, if we do not follow those federal guidelines, we may have to send money back. So I just want you to know why your project's being delayed, okay? So you don't have to call me tonight. Okay. Okay.
Shoot, a later date could be January 31st.
Well, the next regular meeting is on the 20th. What if we did a February 3rd, gives you 2 cycles, so it gets completely briefed, and aim for February 3rd?
So a first briefing for the February 3rd meeting would be January 20th,
Yep.
followed by the second briefing, January 27th, and then a vote on February 3rd.
Would you make your motion, Mr. Plyler, for February 3rd, table till February 3rd?
I would amend to that date.
And second by Commissioner Wizenhunt and Commissioner Kaplan.
Are we done with the discussion?
Are we ready to discuss now? We're ready to discuss it now.
All right.
Any discussion on the table?
Thank you so very much. Lee, wherever you went to, I wanted to say thank you to the staff for this impressive dashboard. This is something that I've been looking for some time now, and constituency definitely needs to see the transparency of it. So I appreciate you guys so very much, and continue to I looked on the website, I love it, and thank you. So thank you, Don.
And I'm happy to go through it. I don't know if you want to go ahead and have the vote, and I can go through that afterwards. Or...
We'll finish the tabling with the, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman Plyler.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine.
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan. Commissioner Linville.
Aye.
Commissioner McDaniel.
Aye.
Commissioner Wisenhunt.
Aye.
Now, Mr.
Absolutely.
Haney.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So I'm happy to go through the dashboard, which you have in front of you. As the Commissioners have asked for us to do, we wanted to present to you, based off of the 80% goal that was passed with this previous year's budget, to use ARPA funds in disproportionately impacted communities as well as qualified census tracts. And so I'll walk through this. It's got a lot of information on there, but this is something that we plan to continue to update once we start actually passing and approving projects to show where that money has been allocated. At this point, we just have the recommendations that we've made that haven't been passed yet, so that's what's going to be on here right now. But looking at the top left of the screen was just really looking at the goal calculation. And so you can see the $74,256,322, which was the allocation that Forsyth County received. Beneath that are the three costs that the county has already approved, which was the revenue loss for the county, the premium pay for county staff, as well as the staff and administrative cost to operate the ARPA program, which gives a remaining balance of $48,401,353. 80% of that is that $38,721,082. So that is the goal out of all of these ARPA funds of using that in the qualified census tracts and for disproportionately impacted communities. Below, the large chart here is really breaking down by the different categories of applications, how we group them. What has been approved is what, right now it's what's been recommended, what's been approved in the future is what's going to be. And so the top line is the recommended for each of those different categories. Below that, it splits them up between how many of those were internal county applications and how many of those were external non-county applications. So for instance, in the gun violence, you have one that's being recommended, and that is a non-county application. Water and sewer was one that was a county application. Behavioral health, 6 total being recommended. 2 were internal, 4 were external. Workforce development was 1, which is external, and educational attainment is 1 external. Because you had a resolution in front of you today, which was just tabled, we broke that out into these were the ones that were a part of that resolution. There were some additional ones that I think the manager discussed earlier that we did not have a recommendation on initially, but we wanted to ask some additional questions and continue to consider. We were able to have those interviews, and so there's some additional ones we'll be adding on as well when we bring this item back to the board. And so you can see there was 3 educational attainment ones that were external that we will be recommending. Below that, there's also a breakout of how much in aggregate in each of those categories is being recommended for funding, and whether that is an internal county application or a non-county external application. And so you can see that as well. And then right below that is a distinction of whether or not, how many of those applications were serving a disproportionately impacted community or located in a qualified census tract. So that's on the key down there, if it has L, that's talking about the location of that project was in a qualified census tract. And then if it's an S, it is, it may or may not be located in a qualified census tract, but is serving a disproportionately impacted community. And we just got the final rule, which gives a little bit more definition than that, and so we'll update this to make sure we're very clear about that, but we wanted to make sure you understood that as well. So walking through this right here, you can see in the gun violence category, the 1 application is serving disproportionately impacted communities. In the water and sewer, that one is not in a QCT or serving disproportionate impacted communities towards the previous definition. However, we have done a community survey there, and 50% of the residents there are low to moderate income. So under the new definition, it's clarified, it may end up being in that category.
May I interrupt just for a
Yes, ma'am.
second? So I see that you have 1.5 million administered to the Cure Violence. Has the assessment been completed?
I will defer to Deputy County Manager.
It has been completed. We actually received it yesterday, have some follow-up questions, and they'll be presenting it to the steering committee next week, and then we'll be prepared to provide an update to the board.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
In the behavioral health category, you have the two internal applications. Both are located in a qualified census tract and serve disproportionately impacted communities. The 4 external ones, 2 of them are located in qualified census tracts. All 4 of them are serving disproportionately impacted communities. In the workforce development category, the one that's being recommended is located in a qualified census tract. And then in the educational attainment, the one that was being recommended for the item today was serving disproportionately impacted communities and located in QCG. And then the additional ones, all 3 of them are both serving disproportionately impacted communities and located in a QCG. And so the top right graph over there, or chart over there, what this is basically showing is that funding goal, which was what we calculated earlier for QCT, disproportionately impacted community, and then the remainder is on the right there, the 9,680,000, which is the 20%. Below is what we are recommending dollar-wise, both county and non-county, and then the remaining is how much after that. So what you're looking at here is essentially that of the recommendations we have, 95% of the funds recommended are going to be either to projects that are located in a qualified census tract or serving disproportionately impacted communities so far. We're going to go ahead and update this regularly as we make decisions, and we'll put it on the website. And if there's any other information you'd like to include or any questions you have, I'd be happy to do that.
It might be nice as it gets on the web that each of these would have a little more, so you could go to like an addendum that shows exactly what the project titles are of each one.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right now you look at these categories and amounts, and right now there are just very few projects. But then was there more? It would be great to have the projects identified.
Yes, sir. And we do, every Monday, we have a list of all of the applications, and we update that where it is in the process, and they'll be updated there, but we could also add just a specific document showing what has been approved as well, projects that have been approved.
I agree.
The website looks good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Kyle?
I have no questions, but I would like, Kyle, if you will, I have a meeting on an economic development item tomorrow, and I'd like to have a business card from you before I leave today so I can give it to this individual and get you in contact with him as well.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Commissioner Martin, I have one comment.
I just took a look ahead at our agenda. We have 9 contracts in the contract section to approve. And I was going to make a suggestion, particularly because of the cumbersome of voting, that we maybe ask the county manager to give a sort of a review of any of these, very quick summary of any of these, and then we could have maybe one motion to approve all contracts and agreements on items 16 through 23, and 23 is the only one that has a part A and B.
Very good.
Does that meet with everyone's
Yes, sir.
approval?
All right. So you're going to have to listen to
Mr. Martin, before we move
try to
forward,
talk.
can I make one comment, please?
Sorry, Fleming.
Okay. Thank you very much, Commissioner Martin. I want to also thank Kyle for the presentation, but also to remind us that a lot of these applicants, they applied for these funds some time ago. They have a sense of urgency to get some kind of response from us. So even though we want to be in compliance with the federal government so we don't lose any money, let's also keep in mind that there is a sense of urgency in the community to hear from us about the status of their applications going forward. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Very good. All right, so we do have a number of contract items, and I'll review these quickly. You got a resolution selecting and authorizing a contract with Ursoy Brake Appleyard Architects to provide architectural and engineering services, and that's for that 4001 North Liberty Street, basically the MRO Holdings facility, not to exceed, the design piece not to exceed $561,029. Item 16, you got a resolution awarding a contract for the replacement of a train, chiller, and associated cooling tower at the Department of Social Services and Public Health Facilities. Like all these, this was bid. We are recommending the lowest responsible bidder. It is Professional Air Systems LLC in an amount not to exceed $430,440. Item 17 is a resolution awarding a contract to Avcon engineers and planners to design and bid services for Taxiway Alpha. And that is, that's for the Taxiway Alpha project. That's an amount that I don't think I had the right number there, so you'll see that in the agenda item. Item 18 is a resolution awarding a master service agreement between Forsyth County and Afcon for airport engineering planning services. That is a 5-year agreement. That's really for the ongoing work, and you've got the sort of the design piece of record as they go through those state projects, and we are recommending Avcon. Item 19 is a resolution approving the purchase of the EZO, whatever that word is, vascular access device from Telemex Medical Incorporated for the Department of Emergency Management, Emergency Medical Services. That's a blanket PO not to exceed $50,000. Obviously, we'll buy that as we use those devices and need them. Item 20 is a resolution ratifying and awarding a contract for the purchase of 2022 Dodge Charger police pursuit vehicles and a Dodge Ram 15, or three actually, Dodge Ram 1500 pickups. That's an amount not to exceed $598,201. That is bought off the purchasing agreement with North Carolina Sheriff's Association that has been competitively bid. Item 21 is a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement between Forsyth County and Aquatech Pool Management Triad LLC. That's for lifeguard services as we start planning to be back in the swim business at the Peter S. Brunstetter Aquatic Center at Tanglewood. That is an amount that was bid as well. Lowest responsible bidder was the Aquatech bid, not to exceed $172,500. That is a max 3-year agreement. Item 22 is a resolution authorizing the execution of an interlocal agreement consenting to Beeson Crossroads Fire and Rescue Incorporated in the town of Kernersville, co-locating fire operations to and renovating station number 26 at 1105 Old Salem Road. The parties really have been negotiating this for quite some time. It is a way for the town of Kernersville to take advantage of the facilities that have been funded through tax dollars for fire services in that area, and they're essentially piggybacking with Beeson's through a period of time. And at some point in time, as Kernersville grows and annexes and what have you, they will essentially operate that station themselves, but that'll be a long way out. And in the meantime, the volunteer system and the paid career municipal system are working well together. And I thank Gordon for his work on that. He's been helpful, very helpful to, I think, all parties in trying to get that done. Item 23 is a resolution ratifying and authorizing the execution of an interlocal agreement between Forsyth County and Winston-Salem Transit Authority. That's for the EdTap grant money. That's $184,430. And then also for the Employee Transportation Assistance Program, which was $89,458. And that is all those items.
Commissioner Platter, move we approve all of the items through item 23 described by the county manager.
Motion by Commissioner Plyler. Second by Commissioner McDaniel. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman Plyler?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine?
Aye.
Commissioner Kaplan? Aye. Commissioner Linville?
Aye.
Commissioner McDaniel?
Aye.
Commissioner Wisenhunt?
Aye.
Very good. And the last items, I think you can take all these together reports. You've got items 24 is a quarterly fuel surcharge report, and then you've got the September-October human resources report. And Commissioner McDaniel, we will probably put that information there in that report and just make that part of that. I think that'll be a good way to do that. And then item 27, November 2021 contribution-based benefit cap report.
Commissioner Platter, move we approve all items described by the county manager through item 27.
Motion by Commissioner Plyler to approve reports. Second by Commissioner Fleming Elamine and Commissioner Linville. Thank you. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman Plyler?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Elamine?
Aye.
Commissioner Kaplan? Aye. Commissioner Linville? Aye. Commissioner McDaniel? Aye. Commissioner Wisenhunt?
Aye.
All right, we're ready to adjourn and take a 5-minute adjournment.
Could I say something quickly? Don't want to along the meeting, but if not today, next week, could Damon give us a report on the Tanglewood Light Show this year? I think it's very exciting.
That'd be good.
Sure.
All righty. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Platter, move to adjourn.
Commissioner Platter, motion to adjourn. Second by Commissioner McDaniel. All in favor? Let's reconvene in 5 minutes. Call the roll, sorry.
Chairman Plyler?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Martin? Commissioner Elamine?
Aye.
Commissioner Kaplan? Commissioner Linville? Commissioner McDaniel? Commissioner Wisenhunt?
Aye.
All right, done.